sunfish, right?
Ocean sunfish.
Ocean sunfish.
And they'll kind of lay on the surface waters and get warmed up in the sunshine. And I've actually seen them on the surface from ships out here, and you can see that big fin, caudal fin, just kind of flopping around. Not caudal fin. I don't know what you call those on Mola Mola. That is amazing.
I'm already doing that, Roland.
Wow.
Trying to come down.
And we briefly had the lasers on it. I wasn't sure how wide apart they were, but I think he's well over 1 meter in length. We'll have to go back and check the video on that.
That is awesome. So I do believe that these are the biggest fish as far as weight.
So we just backtracked. Annie, who sits to my right, just backtracked for us to look at the laser beams, which are the 2 red dots you see periodically, and they are 10 centimeters apart, and this guy is almost 2 meters in length.
Wow.
He is a big one.
That is great. So Tom Hanskinek said that molas are loaded with specialized trematodes. Yeah, I feel the same way, Megan McCullough. She said, I've always wanted to see a mola mola in person, and this is pretty close.
It's a virtual reality, Megan.
I've been on cruises where other people have seen them, but I was never one. So
now you can say you've been there.
Cool.
Yeah, and Zach said this is the biggest bony fish on the planet. That's what I thought I was remembering.
With you, even though we're moving.
Well, that was...
What a treat.
That was a ray of sunshine.
So we're moving
Mola Mola. to our day where we are a little disappointed. We set out to find a shipwreck, and we did find some cool geology, lots of biota. We did not expect to see that. And so it's been very interesting for sure, but we are a little disappointed not to have found the ship we were seeking.
He was moving.
So
but obviously this is good habitat for all sorts of fishes. Yeah, Michael Vecchione said it's the heaviest bony fish on the planet.
I believe that. Unfortunately, it's not used as a food source. We don't want to remove them. There are too few of them. They're beautiful.
And Megan McCullough said that if there was a way to watch this in virtual reality, she would probably die of excitement.
I think it's better than
I totally get that.
That's the first one we've ever seen with D2.
I think some other people were pretty happy
I
about
used
it
to see a lot
too.
of them going offshore fishing off the coast of Maine with my grandfather.
I've seen them on the surface. We've never seen them.
Yeah. Well, they're normally pretty scarred up.
Yeah.
The ones I've seen getting hit by boats when they're on the surface. It was nice to see one that didn't. That wasn't covered in scars.
I was trying to get closer to him, Roland, but he was moving fast.
This is definitely prime habitat for black belly rosefish.
Bats ready for another move.
They just have taken advantage of almost
down a little bit.
Yeah, I'm coming down now.
Every cave that these rocks have made, and the conger eels, and those beautiful swallowtail bass. Anthias.
Wood's eye, possibly.
Wood's eye.
And yeah, so I was saying that the Cereanthids, their position in the phylogeny of the anthozoans in general is still somewhat unresolved, but they might be kind of basal to both the octocoral and the hexacoral groups.
Cheryl, you said Cereanthid, and I know you mean Corallimorph.
I did it again? I don't know what is wrong with me. Yes, the Cereanthids.
I'll hit her every time she says it wrong. Yeah. Train her.
Bad mad
no,
dog.
You just said it again. You said yes, the Serianthid.
Oh, that's right. 'Cause I'm looking at Serianthid.
I didn't hit her. Sorry.
I'm looking at the wrong paper.
No, you were describing it perfectly well before, the corallimorphs being the sort of the naked corals.
You're starting to get to the end of your today?
Yep, and then somehow I opened up another paper that was about Serianthids. So I must have a very big switch in my mind that's not turned on correctly for those two.
So the pilot is slowly sinking down the slope of this feature, slowly sinking down the slope of the scarp.
And we are still seeing lots of anemones. They're definitely a species that's doing very well on these rocks.
Yes. And the rockfish, but not the others. We don't see nearly the diversity in these deeper sections of the scarp. Still have our squat lobsters. And I suspect there's a conger eel or two under these rocks. There's one of the cods over there, the Limonema maybe? Or did you determine that was a Limonema, a different species?
Yeah, Barbatulum.
Barbatulum. Can we zoom in on that lower rock there, just at 5 o'clock, or I mean 7 o'clock from your lasers? Yeah, just to the growth. I guess they're hydroids. What are those?
It looks like more
Sargassum. There's nothing growing on it, though.
It looks like that grayer part is it's starting to disintegrate or be broken down.
It's all sargassum.
Yeah, I think so.
Rock.
There is something.
Oh. Yellow sponge.
That is our first sponge that we've seen today.
I think it is.
It's
our
rather
token
tiny.
Sponge. Maybe we're just not looking closely enough.
And that one stands out because of its color.
Is that some pink or mauve sponge next to it?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
It looks like the inside of a burrow of some sort. It might have. Interesting.
Yeah, that could be an encrusting sponge.
And possibly a white sponge, same material, a little bit down to the left.
See some of the tubes sticking out that likely have tube worms living within them.
Now.
Retracted at present. Nolan Barrett suggests that's a demo sponge, but can't say much more.
Yeah, with it being that tiny.
Here's a big old conger eel up under that rock, straight up. I think I saw him earlier. He was partway out.
Eel.
They sure do have nice caves around here.
And one of those scorpionfish. What's that fish there, the name of it?
Oh, I forget the name of that scorpionfish. I have it somewhere.
Trachyscorpia cristulata, or was that from deeper dives? We encountered one at some point, but I don't think it was in these shallow waters.
The Scorpionfishes mouth? Almost looks like a spearhead.
Those look round and cylindrical on the end.
Good, maybe he'll come out.
Nope. Okay, it's coming out.
Watch your port side.
Yeah.
Looks like the future rises.
Your light's still a good distance away, so you're fine.
Beautiful
It's a
color
nice
of that
shot of all
orange
the
fish.
anemones.
Yeah. And a complex habitat.
You tilt up on your HD.
Coming up.
Can we also tilt up a little bit on ROV HD2?
HD2. Do you want me to take control of that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is that enough video? Or?
Yeah, that's good, thanks.
Andrea said,
Give
yes, that was
that.
Trachyscorpia. And Conger oceanicus.
The eel was conger.
Yes, the eel
oceanicus.
is Conger.
Thank you, Andrea. Andrea has been most helpful with our fish identification. She hails from Harvey Mudd College. It's on the West Coast. Is that correct? Yeah. California?
Close to LA, or in LA. Pilots, this is watch one.
Go ahead.
Could we look at the rock underneath of it on the upper right side to see what's growing there? Yeah, that one.
Sure.
Thanks.
Just come on in, video.
Pilots ready for another move?
Sure.
Great. Above another 20 meters. I think 6-0 still works
Those aren't
pretty
cup
good.
corals, are they? Or
Well,
are
that's
they?
what I was wondering, but I
They're
don't.
all closed up.
I
If
don't
they
really
are.
see
Oh,
cup
they
corals.
just- Did you see that? They all moved.
I think they're maybe anemones.
I think they might be because they all closed. Brachiopod?
Yeah, that's what Amanda Demopoulos thought also.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda.
Yeah, they all closed at once when we moved in.
Well, that's neat.
Yeah, brachiopods go way back in geologic time. They are used in the fossil record quite a bit. We've pieced together their different age ranges so that when we find a species that we can recognize, we can pin down at least a range of time that that rock might have been formed. And they go back hundreds of millions of years, different species.
That little thing is.
And there aren't too many different species alive today relative to the rock record.
Hey, pilot, this is watch one. Oh.
Be great if we got a little rock with some of those brachiopods on it.
Yeah, it looks like the rocks with brachiopods are quite large.
Well, but around them, see all the little white dotted rocks?
Mm-hmm.
Pilot.
This piece over here.
Hey.
I can tell you real quick what we're trying to do.
Give me an update on everything.
Yeah, so we're pretty much just moving northeast. See these
Bob
two
Carney
contours?
says, yes, they're brachiopods. They're oyster-like and have a flat valve against the substrate.
No,
wow,
just
that's great.
east, pretty much looking at the slope.
Okay.
And you're just kind of lateral.
Okay.
Eastward. Sound good?
Yeah.
Great. And then Washleads are hailing you.
Okay. Have they been calling out things that they want to look at?
Yeah, just like normal.
Okay.
Yep.
Hey, Watchleads, this is Pilot.
Go ahead, Pilot.
Hey, I was told that you were hailing me.
Yes, there's a white kind of stick-like thing on the rock at the top of the screen. Would it be possible to get a zoom on that when you get a chance?
Yes, let me get my lasers on so you can kind of guide me, because I see a bunch of white. Is it the one that's to the left of?
Just to the left of center and yeah,
on the back rock there.
On the back rock, correct.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go ahead and pull on over there, and we'll take a look.
Thanks.
Copy that. Okay, so we're not landing too often. Okay.
And a little more information about brachiopods. Megan McCullough says that they are lophophorates and related to bryozoans. They have lophophores, which are, I believe, the long tongue-like appendages that they can
Hey, co-pilot. I think I'm going to have to move
stretch out and grab food.
Yeah, it looks like I'm looking right down.
Megan, correct me if I'm wrong. That comes from a long time ago, remembering some invertebrate zoology.
I wonder if that's the same octocoral that we've been seeing, the white octocoral, and it's just, yeah, I imagine so.
Nav, is the ship underway?
I'm glad you spotted that. I was in the lab making coffee and I saw that. I was like, oh,
so
that looks different. But now that we're closer, I do think that's the same thing. We've had a
Can you hear me?
close-up look at several times, and we're wondering if it's Unicella or something else.
How long
Okay.
the end of this month.
Pilot, if you can watch that crab for a minute, he's feeding.
I actually have to keep
Oh, you
moving
do?
right now. Yeah, unfortunately.
Oh, he was using his little pincers.
Put us in a place that we don't want to be in.
Okay.
Apologies for that.
Well, we understand. And when you get settled, we'd love to have an introduction from the new watch on the front row.
Co-pilot, are we... Nav, what direction was that move?
I'm facing 6-0.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was 6-0.
Okay. I'm going to... that's downslope.
Yeah, we're sort of sidling along this ridge length.
So like what Sean said is like...
Should be along the ridge and then a little bit uphill.
And regarding the lophophore of brachiopods,
what Sean said was they're trying to look
Megan
at this
McCullough
right
says that it is more like a ring
like
of tentacles with a mouth
right
in the
here.
center.
Okay.
Having D2.
Though the brachiopod
Look
lophophore is a little more
which is, like,
complicated than the
moving
bryozoan lophophore.
This depth.
Sounds complicated to begin
I
with.
don't know if you're comfortable with that, if you wanna...
I just got to orient myself.
But it
quick.
is a food capturing device.
That's
So you have to face south and sidle most of the time.
Yeah.
Thanks, Megan.
With all that fishing line, though.
Yeah. So you just have to nod your head back and forth.
I mean, you can also look kind of the way you're looking at it. You don't have to be like perpendicular to the slope. So however you feel more comfortable.
Okay. We'll start zooms again right here.
Still looking back at you, just so you know. As Nav said, the ship's settled, so probably not moving much.
Okay. So I guess I'll be doing quite a bit of that. There's some trash down there again.
You want to start introductions?
So, starting introductions here. Sitting as pilot is Andy Lister, and to my left in navigator.
Sitting as navigator, Fernando Aragon.
To his right, sitting co-pilot, Jeffrey Lanning.
And in the far right is Roland Bryan at video.
And in the back row is Annie White doing clipping. And we're all with the Global Foundation for Ocean Exploration.
And in the back row to my left is
Cheryl Morrison from the U.S. Geological Survey.
And I'm Leslie Sauter from the Geology Department of the College of Charleston, and we are the co-science leads, Cheryl being the biology lead, and I am the geology lead.
Wave at the camera.
Watchley's we're in a safer place right now, so if you'd like any zooms.
Looking at 8.5.
Leslie, do you think we should zoom on some of these other smaller rocks and see
Yeah,
if there's any brachiopods?
The brachiopods might be interesting if we could collect a small rock sample with them on it, but be nice to get a different kind of rock, although they seem to be particular about the rocks. They
Quick zoom
may
on
just be the edges of the rocks they prefer.
More debris. Okay, come on up. Thanks.
I don't know if it's necessary. If others feel I would not be studying them myself. So if there's anyone in the chat room who feels the need to get a rock with a brachiopod on it, we're happy to do that. Or any geologists who are with us today, if you want a different rock. We just collected one at the top, which a lot of this material, I suspect, has fallen from the top.
Fiddler crab.
Haven't seen too much variation in the type of rock we're looking at, though. A nice little hermit crab with a moon snail type of shell.
It's a lovely house.
Yeah, moon snails, or sometimes called tiger's eye.
Yes, clear.
I prefer the moon snail. They are more common in the shallower waters.
What's better for you, pilot? For me to face you looking south and we both side over?
They're cannibalistic.
Keep this view for you.
More facing me, I think.
Drill on each other and...
I'll split it, see how that goes.
Okay, that'd be great. I feel a lot more comfortable there.
Eat the insides out of their neighbors.
You mean they eat their neighbors out of house and home?
Yeah, I like that. So the direction of travel is...
Is that a sea star in the upper center?
Crab underneath the rock to the right.
Exactly.
Watches, did you say you want to see a sea star?
I think there's one just coming into center now, maybe.
Okay, let's go ahead for a zoom video.
Yep. This one looks like it has 5 arms, so different than the one we saw earlier.
Star.
Yep. Quite a bit of it.
There's another yoga pose for us. One of the officers on board wants to have marine animal yoga sessions.
Okay.
Well, the interesting poses we've seen. We haven't done it yet. We're just talking about it.
Yeah. If we can contort like the other species do.
There's a crab under the ledge to the right. White crab.
Oh, right over there.
Yep, that's him.
Here we have another Cancer genus crab. I believe this is Cancer, and I'm not sure what the species is here.
Could you hit my lasers?
Lasers out.
Thank you.
Beat it a little bit down.
That's a great shot. We haven't had that view of one. You can see his barnacles on the edges of his carapace.
Exciting.
Go ahead,
Let me know
Nev.
when you're clear video.
Just wondering what that thing immediately to his right is. You see it?
The snail?
Maybe.
Oh, on the rock here?
Yeah.
I could be able to tell probably from this. I am drifting away.
Yes, you are.
I think that platey-looking thing might be a sea cucumber.
I said they saw a 2-meter mola earlier.
We see a conger eel. Conger oceanicus. It's a great name.
So it looks like there's 2 different cancer crabs that this could be, either Irroratus or Pagurus.
Should we get another move in?
Yeah, just be careful how far you go ahead. Remember, we're sort of going that direction. You do more sidles. You're taking off that way. That's why I'm not giving you a lot more on the tilt.
Copy.
And yeah, whatever you guys want to do. Do you want to do another 6-0 while you figure out where we're going next, Nav, or do you have any direction for us?
Quick zoom here video.
Let's do another.
Look at all that.
Maybe 15 meters, 6-0. So
Okay.
we can get over here, and then I'll see what we can do.
Okay, sounds good.
Thanks, video.
No.
Be a real nice view of that fish to the lower left. Been trying to get a real close-up nice shot, but we haven't quite gotten it.
What kind of lighting do you want, Roland?
With that one?
Probably with the extra lights on.
Huh?
With this shot, probably with the extra lights on. The general lighting has been pretty good.
Go ahead, video. This is the one you're talking about, right?
Yeah, I need to drop down a little bit closer.
Okay.
Do I have the extra lights on? It should go
Looks
down
like
there.
that black belly rosefish has spines, but I guess he's sitting on top of an urchin.
Yeah, go ahead.
Or maybe he's got one stuck in his jaw.
Let's go to his eye.
So I guess we went over an unusual sea cucumber that I didn't see. Did you see it, Leslie?
No, I didn't.
I wonder if it was too far back that we couldn't go back.
I wouldn't know where to look.
To where we moved, but it would be on the rock. It won't be on the sediment. And I only saw one of them. I'll certainly keep an eye out.
How big was it?
It was about the size of your pinky nail.
Okay, so tiny. Oh, okay. Where the cancer crab was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it was around there.
Yeah, Annie's just shown me the clip, so that might be easy to find again if the cancer crab hasn't moved. Oh, it was.
Some large
No, it was a long ways back, apparently.
Under the anemones to the right.
Lights out. Roland.
It's out.
Lights out. Oh. How far away was it? 400 meters?
400.
What's 400 at 3/10?
An anomaly.
I thought that yellow thing was a sponge, but I think it's a bottle.
Quick zoom video.
Or a can. It is not a sponge. Sprite.
43.
It's the Sprite sponge.
Oh, it's just sand, right? It's like
and fish.
Maybe one of those holothurians right below the can, in front of the can.
Ooh, okay.
Is that safe?
Could we do another quick zoom? Just below that can, there might be one of the sea cucumbers that
sure, go ahead.
we've had questions about.
We don't have to.
Oh yeah, there's several of them, or whatever that is.
Those
the
round
brownish
orange
things.
discs to the right of that anemone.
I still don't see them. Oh.
Looking at the one that's in a pit on the very low. Oh yeah, that's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Co-pilot?
Looks like an anemone at one end.
Yeah.
The tube feet. They're suspension feeders.
Wow.
Sort of tan round part is the body that you would more typically associate with a sea cucumber. And one of the things that's really interesting is you see it's very platy looking, and that's a perfect example of why the name for the phylum, Echinodermata, spiny skin, exists. They have all these what are called ossicles embedded in their tissue.
Yeah, there's another couple.
This one down here?
Yeah, the one hanging down might be a better view of it. Well, certainly one end of it. Why, that's hard to believe that's a holothurian.
It really is.
It looks like an anemone.
Thanks for pointing that out, Bob Carney.
Yeah, it's nice to see the three of them there in a row. You can see what they look like. Very hard to detect when the feeding tube feet are withdrawn.
Well, that's another new one for me today.
Tilt your camera down and look more straight down at it.
I thought it was above me.
It is. That's only because your camera is tilted up.
Okay. Oh, are you talking about this one that's down here?
No, I was talking the same one, but we can look at that.
Okay.
The one you just spotted.
Yeah, go ahead.
Roland's trying to get it between your toes. Instead of telling you
that's an enemy.
Trying to lead you by the camera angle. He just wants you to
That one might be actually a sedimented anemone instead.
Okay, come back in.
Oh, that's great.
There's another one,
wow.
Huh.
That's polyps out.
So a lot of the sea cucumbers that we typically see on the sediments are deposit feeders. They're ingesting the mud and sediment that we've been seeing and digesting all the organic particles that are in there, and then they leave those fecal traces or the trails that we've been following. These sea cucumbers are suspension feeders, so they don't move. They're more or less glued to the rock. perhaps less, but they're pretty firmly in one position.
I would say
and then they
all the time
extend the tube feet that are modified around the mouth and capture food out of the water column just the way that the anemones and the corals do. So there are lots of different organisms that take advantage of food floating in the water and have different kinds of net-like structures to grab those.
He's got his,
that was a great view of the net-like structures of that.
The top one, you mean?
Sea cucumber.
Yeah, the one that you've been looking at.
Okay.
And we've seen quite often, we get some really nice images of the, I'll call them the more typical sea cucumbers that are feeding in the sediments, and you can see at the head end they have modified tube feet that are grabbing fistfuls of sediment and mud. So this is just another modification of those same structures.
Go for it. Go pilot.
And if you can rock a little bit left, so I can lose the can.
And I guess he can wash his meal down with a nice cold Sprite.
Almost frozen Sprite.
Oh, so delicate. So Bob Carney said that the tentacles of these solids and other dendrochirides are actually spiraled, but it's hard to see the spiral.
Lights coming off in 5 seconds. One more.
Slight tilt. You're drifting back.
I'm just turning a little bit.
Hold.
Nice comparison there between these modified tube feet of this sea cucumber compared to the anemones that are around here, different phyla, but both doing the same thing, same strategy for capturing food. And then we can think back to some of the fan worms that we've been seeing, another group that most of which are benthic, are digging through the bottom or moving over the bottom, but some that have adapted an existence where they become sessile and build a tube and modify the head end into a series of tentacles or nets that they extend into the water column to capture things. So clearly that's a good way of making a living capturing food out of the water column.
Yeah. Very different groups of organisms kind of coming to the same conclusion about how to make a living down here. And Amanda was looking at the sibellid polychaetes and mud tubes around the holothurian we were just observing. And they have their brachial crown extended, which would be what they use to filter particles out of the water column.
Is this that same fish that you wanted to zoom on earlier?
The one at the lower?
Yeah. So you could say it's outcrop up there. Check that out.
I think it is.
Well, if you see it in your minute cams.
Up there, yeah. I see the top of the minute cam view. Okay, we'll do a quick zoom here then. Let's go ahead, video, if you want to see this one.
Another thing of that pink fish at the top, if you get one that's really nice specimen like that, the good colors and
he's smiling.
Appropriate.
Sometimes they look grumpy.
Good.
We'll keep my eyes out. There's an outcrop we want to go check. I'll go up too to see how he looks.
Well, this guy was good. Yeah, that's not bad. Try to include his tail.
Just getting over there.
another of those holothurians in the upper right. It's Anthias woodseye, swallowtail
Really
bass.
long tail. Yeah.
I think that wins the prettiest fish award for the entire mission.
Very beautiful.
Not the coolest. Mola Mola would have to get that vote.
Yeah.
You want one more view on the one below this too video? Before I go check out that.
Yes, but let's
Oh, is
give
that
a
a
few more
tiny sea
seconds
star?
to this.
Just above
I just saw
the
a sea
fish?
star above the fish's eye.
Above his
that
eye.
one. I see it, yeah. We'll take a look at that as well.
Yep. Go ahead and just tilt straight up.
That little bitty squat lobster. Reddish orange.
So this must be one of those that
Photomom.
asexually divide. Yeah.
He's not done yet.
Look at me. And a little baby squat lobster
Look
underneath.
at that. It's got,
And then
it's the six-limbed one that we had, that Chris talked about earlier.
there's something underneath the rock. I don't know if that's a colonial tunicate or some kind of eggs.
I was wondering the same, Cheryl. My first thought was tunicate.
What is that on the right? It looks like it's got some breathing holes. Pink on the upper right. Would the extra lights like that?
It's pretty far above it. It'd be minimal. Well, we can try it, but it's
Yeah,
not,
it does.
it's going to be minimal.
I agree.
It's a little hermit crab on the lower left. So has that rock been kind of bored into on the right?
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like it has been.
What's the reddish thing?
Okay.
Oh, yeah. That looks like another of the
Not much.
holothurians in shape, because you can see the
Well, on the by the squat lobster, but then there's
underneath. But
Underneath,
see
yeah.
how there's a hole.
yeah.
I
See
don't know.
those tubes in that pink thing? Like water tubes?
Oops. Those? Those?
Yep. Video's clear.
Okay.
The more you zoom
Last
in, the more you see
coming
on
up.
these
We'll go
rocks.
down
It's
a little
So
bit.
amazing.
true.
Okay.
Other fish just to the side here.
Little microcosms.
Oh yeah, there's another fish. The upper left.
See how the organisms are all clustered on the edges of the rock where there isn't sediment cover, so you're just avoiding that burial.
He seems to be looking at an ROV.
Well, you can see it in his eye.
Oh gosh, look at the reflection in his eye. You can see D2's lights.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's great.
Wow.
Wave the manipulator arm, see if we... That was good eyes, pilot. I would have missed that.
That was video. Called that one.
Oh, yeah.
Alright, we had something up here in the manip cams that looked interesting. Right here.
More big rocks.
I have a lot. It's got a lot of tether.
Yeah.
Get out there.
I have plenty of room.
And I was gonna
Look at all the
settle left or right.
anemones, the Venus flytrap type. They're all in a band.
And I bet you that might be
That's
a
cool.
Rochinia and maybe some more Lophelia.
Let's
Oh,
find
farther
out.
up on the upper rock, yeah.
Goosefish.
Go ahead, watch one.
Straight down. Lower left.
Oh, absolutely. I'll let my co-pilot do that.
Pilot, you see the goosefish below the
Stand by.
enemies?
Watch the. Sorry, stand by video. Yeah, we'll get that for you right now. Okay. Sorry, I was talking to Watch Lee's video. What is it?
Goosefish below those anemones. Left.
Oh, that guy. He's
oh,
well
a goosefish. Another goosefish. He looks just like the rock. See, that was Annie with the good eye this time.
Yeah, 3 of them.
This guy's got a nice smile.
Yeah, we're fine.
Wow, that's a face only a mother could love.
Tilt down to the jaw.
Wow. Look at the beard on it.
3 successful closures.
Tilt down to the
Are those
mouth.
hydroids, or is that his own?
No, that's him.
That's him. Look at that. Wow. We've seen in the fish Beauty and the Beast today.
Again, these are angler fish. They have a little lure right between their eyes. And they'll flick it out in front of their mouth, and it would be pretty hard to see that fish if you were another one swimming by. You might be enticed by his lure, and then if you got too close, it'll suck you in.
Yeah, that's 1, 2, and 3. 2, 3. Yeah, we have 2 left.
Tilt down.
So we have Jim Masterson, who has a group of high school students at Harbor Branch Oceanographic, and they were wondering about the behavior of the fishes we're seeing. Is it typical for them to sit on the bottom without moving much, or are they being impacted and stunned by the lights?
Can you get those lights? Thanks.
And I think for the fish that we've been seeing so far,
full specimen first.
This is typical. They definitely spend a lot of their time sitting and waiting for things to come by to eat.
Let's go check out this crab. Is that a hammer? Do a quick zoom. What is that?
Is this where we were before?
It does look like where we were before.
Oh, no, it's nothing. Okay, come on up.
Yeah, we definitely.
It is,
were
yeah.
Here, yeah.
Yeah, these rod-like features that look like pipes, and we thought they were pipes. Scott Harris from College of Charleston called in and said that these were more likely to be infilled worm burrows, or burrows of organisms when the sediment was burrowable on the top, and then those burrow holes were filled in with a different type of sediment, which was more resistant to erosion, and so the rest of the rock and sediment was eroded away, leaving behind just the burrows. So you can think of it as
I might have to land
the
here.
burrow was a mold for those trace fossils, which are the remnants of the burrows. They show us the shape and size of the burrows that the organisms made. And we have since seen them still intact underneath some of these ledges.
I'm going to try to get a stable shot here.
Verify his idea.
And this is Rachinia.
Would he really want to pull off one of those tentacles and stick it in his mouth, or would that be an unexpected surprise?
Go ahead, watch one. They did. They fired successfully. All 3.
That's a beautiful little gastropod there on the lower left. And that's a big Rachinia crab that we're looking at.
I think he might just be poking it.
I don't remember ever seeing them feed on anemones, so this, I don't know if he's really going to eat anything, or... But they're kind of scavengers.
There might be a different octocoral after you've looked at the crab to its lower right. It's white.
Makes sense.
And Andrea Quattrini had some more information to share about fishes and what they're doing when we're not sitting here with a big noisy ROV. And she said that different species react differently to the lights, and some are actually attracted, and the wreck fish that we were seeing the other day are probably those that are attracted.
Just hold this shot for a second.
And then some of them are scared off. And even some individuals within the same species can react differently.
All right. Mentioned coral.
Just like people.
They're on the right edge.
And other organisms.
Oh, with all the other crab?
Yep, with
and
the
then
other
we have
crab.
another cancer-type crab close to the Lophelia that you see.
And yeah, let's come in.
And this is one of several colonies of Lophelia pertusa that we've seen at this site. Not too many, but
coral. These are like,
there is Lophelia here.
I can never tell. Yeah. You guys are really good at that.
And there's a little squat lobster, Humida picta. You can see in the bottom right. And then a large one sitting on that anemone.
Might as well just land at this point.
And another small Humida picta above the large one.
I think they said we've been here. I think we've been here.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
So actually, would you like me to keep moving on? It sounds like we've kind of hit this area a little bit. But there's
yeah,
still
except
some
that
things
there's one more coral that Scott France saw that is to the left.
To the left. Okay. Can we get lasers on?
You see that there's the two fish sitting on the bottom there on the lower left. It's on the rock just above them.
On the rock just above them.
It's like a, I'm not sure, it might be a mat. That's what I want to see. Like a stoloniferous type white
compared to
octocoral.
lasers. So stay right there. Hold there. Video, please.
It's more above the closed up anemone to the left of the lasers.
So this guy, that's... Oh.
There's a hydroid.
This, maybe?
Yeah, it's that white dot. Lasers just passed over it.
Okay.
It's above lasers now.
Scott, you don't have a delay today.
No, I'm really, really on it in my office here. So this is interesting. This looks like it's coming from kind of a solid mass as opposed to a branch, right?
Yeah, it does look like that.
Yeah, I'll double check.
And there's another little one next to it.
That's something we've had before.
Is it a juvenile something else, or could it be a white anthomastus?
Yeah, I mean, it could be a white anthomastus, except that I don't see any stock to it, which is what I would expect. It could be like a, I don't know, a very early growing stage of Anthothela, which can grow kind of like mat-like before it grows into upright branches. The thing that's so odd to me is how big the polyps are. They're really, really tall, and that's much more anthomastus-like. So I'm at a bit of a loss, but I'm glad that we got a view of it.
I imagine it would be really hard to sample because it's so tiny, right?
Oh, that's
yeah, sure.
very, very
no, you would have to sample. It'd have to be on a rock that was easily picked up.
Yeah, you'd have to pick up the whole rock.
This does?
That would, yeah.
That's all liquid. Break off a chunk, and I don't think that's super breakable.
Try bumping
we can find another one, though.
Yeah, hopefully as we move along, we might find another.
It's a gorgeous view of the polyp, though. One of the things I could see is there's a pharynx, so the mouth, which is on the top of the oral disc, there's a small tube, the pharynx, equivalent to our throat, that then opens up, and you can see the transition from the end of the pharynx into the main cavity where the gut is. So that was just beautiful.
Yeah.
Look at all the different fish. You can see the conger eel. Several of the black belly rows had 2 conger eels. This is quite diverse, really.
And that gastropod that we were looking at before, little tiny one, was a slit shell.
I didn't even see it. I must have been typing. I'm sorry I missed that.
Just have a look there, I think. I'm not sure exactly but what the thought was.
Pleurotomariaceae slit shell. Probably murdered that, but...
And there's the clock. Has it changed time since we saw it the first time?
I didn't see it the first time. I must have been at lunch or something.
Yeah, you may have been. It was lunchtime.
And we didn't get to look under this ledge very far. Then we took off across the flat part, right?
Or right, yeah.
So we didn't continue along this ledge right here?
I don't believe we did continue along here. I think we went straight across.
Yeah, I think this will be more interesting than the flats.
Yeah, I think we need to get a little closer to him.
Unless others would prefer to go across.
Pilot.
We can do either. We don't have a plan.
More like 100. Or yeah, 090 is good. Giving me a really good tug, pilot.
Coming back, yeah.
Go ahead, Watchlet. This is Nav. At the moment, we're planning to leave bottom at 2010 UTC. You're welcome.
So we have about an hour left on the seafloor. We're at 331 meters. And we are exploring a large rocky feature that we thought might have been a shipwreck from the multi-beam bathymetry. It had a big scour behind it and a hard return, but it turned out to be this rocky habitat. Bit of an anomaly out here on somewhat flat substrate. And it turns out that it's a very good fish habitat and habitat for a lot of other invertebrates. So it's an interesting contrast to what we've been seeing.
And it seems to be a concentrator of marine debris,
yes.
Sadly, that has been whisked off the ledge above it from the Gulf Stream and or from maybe storm and tides off the shelf itself.
And we've collected a rock sample, so maybe we'll be able to get a better idea of what this rock is made out of.
And it's very likely just the same mud you're seeing, but compacted and then somewhat glued together by precipitation of minerals from the seawater. So that's what we'll find out. And it's formed sort of a crust at the top. And as the scarp that we're looking at has eroded back, those overhanging ledges